Hello and welcome to the Pointy Years podcast. My name is Matt.
And I'm James.
Oh man, it's such a
So
delight.
I've been listening to this podcast called Empire, and one of the hosts always does this to his co-host. She
Oh,
introduces herself, and then he just waits.
oh no, you're doing that
I
on
thought I'd do it with
purpose.
you.
I thought it was like a delay going on or something. That's just you. That's just you
Nah,
being like, and I'm
he likes he
James.
likes he likes to make her worried that sometimes he just won't answer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's something I'm permanently living in fear of, to be honest. But anyway, today's a good day. Well, yesterday was a good day because all the Cultist Warscrolls got leaked. Finally, I've been buzzing for this because I didn't get a chance in the old book to play with my new Iron Golems. I'd converted up two squads of Iron Golems, all ready to play with them, and never got to. They were like, "Oh, do Slaves to Darkness," and I was like, "Well, I guess I'll wait for the book." Well, we'll finally see how Iron Golems are.
Of the okay for you.
I've also got
Not
a
too
unit of
good though.
Untamed Beasts. That's my collection. I've got double Iron Golems, one Untamed Beast. So that's what we're hoping for. Come on, come on. Good stocks for Iron Golems, Untamed Beasts. That's what we're going for. All right. So before we talk about cultists, we need to talk about the context that they're coming into, what we can do for them, how we can make them stronger, and so it's safe to. Oh, actually, I'm skipping the thing. There's going to be a question, and we're going to get to it. Splintered Fang. It's already out. People already know about this, but Splintered Fang are insane, and we're going to get them the Liz Trust question. Who's going to last longer? It's not Serpent Fang, it's Splintered Fang. Splintered Fang or this lettuce with a helmet on? Who's going to last longer? My bets
The
on the lettuce. Or Liz
the
Trust will
lettuce,
last longer, and she's already gone.
the lettuce.
Yeah,
There-
come on, lettuce.
There's ru- there's a rumor that it's a mistake, but we don't know yet, right?
Yeah, yeah. Haven't they is it like official that they've come out and said there was a typo?
They've said there's a mistake in the battle tome,
Yeah,
but they haven't said what the mistake is. So it could be anything. The suspicion is that it might be Splintered Fang because I
yeah.
mean I've heard that they're quite good.
Mm.
As a non-chaos player, I don't know too much, but I've heard they're quite good.
Yeah, well, we'll see when we get to Splintered Fang. We're going to go in alphabetical order when we do get to cultists. Sorry, I keep shaking my screen. All right, so what can we do for the cultists? Well, first, all the cultists have the undivided keyword, which isn't good because because undivided, it's actually doing nothing for them. It is like, is it literally nothing? Oh no, they'll get the undivided keyword, and then they'll get Eye of the Gods. So they stick with undivided, the Eye of the Gods, and that lets them roll on this table here. And so what happens is they roll one d6, where a hero would roll two. You add one d6 and you add two to the roll. So on a one, nothing happens. On a two, you could heal a model. On a 3, you can ignore the next spell that hits you on a 2 up. On a 4, you add 1 to charge rolls until for the rest of the battle. On a 5, you get a 6 up ward. And on a 6, you improve your rend by 1 for the rest of the battle. So there's some cool effects, but I don't
But
think that's what you want.
the chaos undivided mark is giving them the +2.
No, they get the plus 2 because otherwise they
Everybody.
could be turning into a chaos spawn.
Um,
Normally, if you roll double ones on that, you'll turn into a chaos spawn.
so where are they getting the +2 from?
That's just the rule of the table. So the
Uh,
table was originally made for a hero. All right, let me go back to the table. All right, and so if you get a result of 2, you turn into a spawn. But how could a
uh,
unit turn into a spawn? And so sort of get around that, they've got like the middle ones being okay for a hero or a unit, and they just skip spawn them
but
by
so the
rolling one
heroes
d6 plus 2.
heroes can get from 2 to 12, but
Yeah,
normal unit could get from 3 to 8.
3 to 8. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
It's bad. We don't want undivided, at least not on these guys. I think there might be some fringe uses elsewhere, but not here. So what we really want to do is change their mark. We want to dedicate to one of the Chaos Gods. So the way to do that is through a command trait. We must give our hero, our general, Idolator Lord. If we do that, whatever Chaos God our generals is dedicated to, all of our cultists are also become dedicated to, which is really important. So if we do Corn is probably what a lot of us are going to be thinking straight away, because Corn units on the charge add 1 to their attacks. Amazing. Brilliant. Really like that.
Powerful.
They get another command. On that command, I actually forgot. So you make it at the start of your charge phase, and after your unit makes a charge move, they get to basically stomp. I don't like commanding for a stomp. It's bad. Unless you got loads of command points, but you don't tend to in this army. We don't really have lots of
Would you
ways
be
of
able?
generating them.
Would you be able to do that and the stomp?
Yeah, because it's a command and then a monstrous action. You could. I don't see why you would, but I guess it's useful to remember if you really need like a couple mortal wounds on
Yeah.
something that has like high armor but no ward save, maybe.
Just like a small
but-
screen so you can.
Yeah. All right. So, but getting the Corn keyword gets us some other stuff. We got +1 attack on the charge, but this is things we can ally in from the Blades of Corn book. The most famous one is Blood Secretor. He has this 16-inch aura. If you're wholly within that and you have the Corn keyword, which we do, then we get +1 attack. Awesome. Wrathmongers, another one. It's not even a hero, it's a troop. They'll give +1 attacks to other Corn units that are wholly within 8 of them. And then there's the Aspiring Deathbringer. He could do it on a command ability. So he is also, for him, it's wholly within 12, and again, +1 attacks. So anything in the book can get +3 attacks, and then plus a 4th attack from having the Corn mark on the charge. Yeah. So
Pretty good.
even Chaos
Pretty good.
Marauders got absolutely lynched by this book, by the way. They're on 1 attack for axes. It's awful. But we can get them to 5 attacks each and have an 80-point unit doing 50 attacks. That's pretty fun.
Every book has their foxes.
Yeah,
I guess the Marauders.
And there's also the Bloodstoker. And I really like the Bloodstoker. And stay tuned and see our next video, which I'm hopefully going to put up here, because we're going to go into how to make the Bloodstoker amazing. So the Bloodstoker will give you +3 to run and charge rolls, and it also lets you re-roll wound rolls. Re-rolls, hey, they still exist. Everyone likes re-rolls. Okay, but Bloodstoker, definitely something to remember. But yeah, 3 ways to add attacks, 1 way to improve your mobility and re-roll wounds. So what about the other marks? So there are other uses. You can go Tzeentch. Tzeentch gets you access to this teleport. Now, it's only a going back teleport. What it is it's a global range teleport for who you can target, and then you bring them back to being within 9 inches of the guy casting, which has some fringe uses. You could potentially march up the previous turn and then bring them forwards with you, especially like if you're running like a Gaunt Summoner and Disc, which has really, really fast movement. Speaking of the Gaunt Summoner and Disc,
you can move after, right, as well, which is quite good.
You can move after. Yeah, absolutely. But the Gaunt Summoner is also has also got another use in its Silvered Portal ability. If you have the Tzeentch keyword, you can go inside the Gaunt Summoner, and then you can just turn 1, march him up, and then bloop, he just poops out all whatever Tzeentch units. So that's something which could be handy, maybe with tankier units like Iron Golems. What about Nurgle? Nurgle gives you tankiness. Nurgle means that you'll take -1 from wound rolls for all melee weapons that hit you. That's really fun. But other than that, Nurgle's not got much use, but important to keep in mind. Slaanesh has a bit more use. So Slaanesh can give you some mobility. If you go Slaanesh, then on a command, you can run and charge. And also, you're adding 1 to your run and charge rolls already. So that could turn a 4-inch dwarf into something that could run for 6 + 1, 7. So it's running 11, and then it's charging average 8. Like it's turning a dwarf into an average 19-inch movement model, which is
that's crazy.
Great. But that's Slaanesh. The other thing about Slaanesh is it gives you access to the best version of the Chaos Warshrine. Chaos Warshrine's dead, by the way. If you I guess you haven't really been keeping up with the leaks. Maybe some of them. But Chaos Warshrine, dead. Completely dead. It has almost no use outside of this. The Khorne prayer sucks. The Undivided prayer
What,
sucks. Sort of the Tzeentch and the Nurgle ones. They're terrible.
so what killed it? It just doesn't have useful prayers anymore.
It doesn't have useful prayers anymore. And we also have much easier access to good ward saves now. Ward saves of 6, which it still gives, we can get it from other sources. So the reason that the Slanesh one still has a use is it can give you a 3d6 charge, and that's always good. And it just has to go from a Slanesh Chaos Warshrine onto a Slanesh unit. That's the only condition. So that's still pretty good. It's also cheaper. They made it 30 points cheaper, so that's nothing to sniff at. But yeah, I give it 0 use outside of Slanesh personally.
It's a shame. It's a hell of a model.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
awesome.
cool. So cool.
Okay. So I think out of this, my preference is for Khorne, but I might be considering Slanesh in cases where I just want to make sure it can get in. So the other thing we can do is the Ravagers. On the AOS Coach Slaves to Darkness Discord, we have been naming this list the Revengers because they're Ravagers and they're out for revenge. Well, actually, it's the Ravager Avengers. That's also the other thing because they're just assembling. So what happens is you get a heroic action, and this heroic action lets you bring back a half-strength unit that was Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, Cultist, or Dark Oath. And all of our stuff will fit within this criteria. So you could just like that, that's amazing. You could do that 10 times in a well, you can't really do it 10 times because the first hero phase. 9 times, max 9 times. I don't know why I'm doing this. That's a Chinese symbol. 9 times over an entire battle that you're bringing back half strength cultists. I think that's really cool.
Just reading it's so much better. It's so much better than the comparing to the Git's ability, and that's
because it's
half as
guaranteed.
many times.
Yeah,
It's guaranteed, and it's the timing. It's in the hero phase, so you'll be able to move and get some use that turn.
And previously, we were treating this like a meme. It was just like, who cares about Marauders? Like, everyone was just like completely dismissing Ravagers. Then the Cultist Warscrolls came out. Ravagers is legit. Ravagers could literally be our best subfaction. 100%. Forget the 4-rep rally. This is better. If you're going for cultists. Okay, so let's get into our cultists. First cultist, Corvus Cabal. All right, so Corvus Cabal, you're going to get 9 models. They have a 6-inch move, and they actually have some missile weapons. They each get a missile weapon with 8-inch range, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. That's almost no damage. So, meh. They get some mediocre melee, 2 attacks each, 4s and 4s, an extra attack on the Strike Talon, and an extra attack on the Shadow Piercer. So they have a total 20 attacks. Also pretty meh. However, what it really likes is its abilities. First of all, if it's in cover, it's not visible. It's like, this is the cultist that plays Skyrim, and they just crouch in cover, can't see him, must have been the wind. And it deep strikes. This thing deep strikes. It's incredible. I think that's really cool. Like remember, this can go inside of any of the Chaos monogods as well. Now, my question for you, James, for this deep striking unit, 20 attacks, 9 models, 9 wounds, what do you think it's worth in points?
I don't actually know the points. I haven't looked at the points.
Yes, perfect.
I would guess you've got 9 wounds, but not a good save. But
deep striking.
I mean, it seems similar to Canary, but their ability, they've got movability versus a hiding ability, but there's a lot more attacks on this. I'd say maybe 110, maybe tree rev territory.
110.
Can it be a battle line? Is it battle
It's
line?
battle line. So all of these units will be battle line. All cultists, everything battle line. All right, so
maybe 110.
80
I'll
points.
Guess.
80. This thing's awesome.
Well, and you can bring it back.
Yeah, this is the new Untamed Beasts. Untamed Beasts last season or last book was 70 points for the pre-move. This is better, I think. Oh, this is so much fun. I love this.
That's a steal.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think this is probably worth considering in just about every monogod faction. Maybe Nurgle wouldn't because it has Nurglings, but I think this is so good. Zinch, definitely. Korn, definitely. Sladesh, probably. I think it's really good.
Would
So
you be taking like one unit or multiple?
I think two
Be like,
to get you barged through enemy lines.
yeah.
Yeah, I think two in
Okay.
every. I think every Chaos player wants two of these units. So stonks. Yeah, get them now before they're unavailable. A plus. I'm giving this an A plus. Uh, that's my score for the Corvus Cabal. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one. Just gonna go through these real fast. Cipher Lords. These are the guys who are sort of Egyptian looking,
I
and they've
love
got the
these
weird
models. So
masks.
cool.
Yeah, they've got like anks and all of the whatever that cool blade is. Oh, I love them. They look beautiful. Let's see what they do. So we're gonna get 8 models. They also have ranged attacks, exactly the same as before, but this is one less model. And they've have this weird thing. They're almost like screamers of Zinj, in that if they move over something, they'll do mortal wounds to it. But where screamers do it on a 4-up, these guys do it on a 6-up. Screamers have 16-inch move and fly. These guys have 6-inch move and conditional fly. It's I honestly don't favor their chances of getting a lot of mortal wounds off of this, and you can't do it on pylons either.
Yeah, they don't. I'm reading rules, so they don't blow me away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just. What about this shattered bloom globes abilities? Does that make any difference?
Okay, so it's basically on a 4-up, you're going to give
Minus
them
one to
minus
hit.
1 to hit. I think that's extremely inconsistent for a unit that is paper.
Yeah, you don't. You only need if you hit them half the amount of times, six will save. Not gonna. They're not gonna last.
Yeah, yeah. I think. All right. So, what do you think these guys are worth points wise?
I
Yeah,
mean, if
80
the
bleed attacks.
last unit was 80 points,
Mm-hmm.
50 points.
50 points, right?
50,
That's a comparison. These guys are 80. These come in at the same
same.
amount. So my score for them is going to be a C. I think, and C is the lowest score I'll give. C's a fail in my book. So I'm one of those like Asian parents. I'm like, why you no doctor yet, Cipher Lords? Why you no doctor yet? I'm very disappointed in them.
Uh,
All right, moving on. Next one, Dark Oath Savagers. All right, really important about these guys. They're not cultists. Okay, so we're unable to change their undivided mark. They are Dark Oath. Dark
yeah.
Oath are permanently undivided. So they're not getting Corn, they're not getting this bonus attacks, which is a shame because if you read Death Blow, unmodified hit rolls of 6 are a mortal wound in addition. You know, if they were Corn, we could get these guys up to 6 attacks each. That would be awesome. Can't do it.
Yeah.
But they have Oath of Conquest. If they just take an objective from their opponent, they'll gain a 5-up ward for the rest of the battle. That's fun. I think that's really cool. A bunch of the Dark Oath stuff have this ability.
It's
And
10 models.
it's 10 models, and 3 of the models get +1 damage. Oh, and they also get they get a chance to get a free command point just for them. So they have the God Speaker. What happens with that is on a 6-up in your hero phase, start of hero phase, if you get your 6, then you get a command point that can only be used on the Dark Oath Savagers. That's not going to make a difference. But the 5-up ward's fun, and they actually could do decent damage, but they're undivided. Maybe you could get lucky on undivided rolls of either the gods and get your +1 rend, but other than that, I don't see them doing as much damage as other stuff. How many
I'm
points do
not
you think
sure.
they're worth?
So I can guess because it's on the it's on the slide that I'm on.
You skipped the slide. Ah, you see,
100.
that's
Oh,
cheating.
did I click on the wrong one? That's cheating. Cheating.
Yeah, you got to
Wow.
move through them one by one.
I clicked on the wrong one.
Mm,
My bad. I saw they're 100.
they're 100, so
But
we're the last ones for 80.
for me, I don't know what grade you gave them, but for me, I like them less. I like them less than the unit before,
You
just
think
because you
Cypher is
can't put
better?
all those. Just because you can't. We can give up to 4 extra attacks.
Hmm.
I
Right.
think,
I think we have to keep in
I think
mind
just being
though
able to do
that's
that.
if we're going mad on Corn allies, which I'm not necessarily recommending we do.
Okay.
one thing to keep in mind about the Slaves to Darkness book, we've got hammers. We've got really good hammers. We don't need to work for it anymore. I wouldn't be investing that much in Cypher Lords. I wouldn't put a Bloodsecrator, Wrathmongers, and Aspiring Deathbringer into them. I wouldn't do it. Not worth it. That's what I would say. So these guys are 100. For me, I'm giving them a B. I think they have a fringe use. I think if you had them, you wouldn't feel like they're terrible. You wouldn't feel like they're nothing. They could maybe get a 5-up ward sometimes. Maybe you play them as a 20. If you play them as a 20, you get to roll 2 dice for 6-ups as well to get the free command point. That's fun. But they're going to be shadowed by other stuff for sure.
When you can issue that command to other units, or it has to be for this unit?
Has to be
if they
for
get
this
the
unit.
command.
Yeah. So it's like the God Speakers whispering sweet nothings in the Slaughterborn's ear. And it's like, oh, you should all-out attack now. You know, it's a bit like that. Yeah. All right, so the next one, the Horns of Hushut. The dwarves have grown gangly. So this is another unit with shooting. And they've got some interesting shooting. Only 1 unit shoots, and it's equipped with the Flame Hurler. So the Flame Hurler has up to 8 attacks. And it's equal to the number of models in the target unit, up to 8. 2s and 3s, though. So that's kind of fun. You know, like 2s and 3s, 8 attacks. That could be good. This potentially has some use clearing out chaff. They get 2 attacks each, 3s and 4s. Again, we can bring that up. Plus 1 attack for the Ruinator. And oh, maybe this is the typo. Look, under Ruinator, the unit must be a Ruintator. What's Taters, Precious?
Indeed.
Maybe that's it. There's also a Ruinator Alpha who gets plus 1 attacks as well. So they get in total 22 attacks. This is better.
You say Ruinator, I say Ruintator.
Yeah, Ruintator. I like that. I like Ruintator. Now they have another thing. When they charge, you pick an enemy unit within 1. Roll 1 dice for each model in this unit, so 10 dice if you've not taken any casualties yet, on an unreinforced unit. And for each 6, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So per unit, that's 1.67 mortal wounds. There's a little bit of mortal wound action. It's about a stomp. How many points do you think they're worth?
I mean,
90 again. Is it
no, I
exactly
haven't
90?
looked. I haven't looked.
Oh, it's not
really
exactly 90. Okay, it's not 90.
I haven't looked for this one.
It's 100. They're worth 100 points. 4-up save. To be fair, 4-up save.
Yeah, they're a bit tankier.
10 wounds as well.
They were a bit slow for clearing out chaff, but then got the range added on. So actually,
slow. 5 inches is fast. 5 inches is like a rogue. A rogue travels at 5.
Yeah, I'm usually with chaff. I'm either using shooting or something faster, like maybe like Dawn Riders, something like that.
Yeah.
But with the range, I mean, they can still do the job.
I guess I'm not a fan. I'm giving these guys a C. And that's not just because they're stealing the Chaos Dwarf's spot. Next one, Iron Golems. It's my boys. Come on, Iron Golems. Let's go. All right, 5-inch move. So that's fast for tanks. 4-up save. Okay, just like before. Plus 1 to save roll, so they haven't made a normal move. Okay, same as before. So far, pretty good. I've forgotten to delete the line with the points. They're 100 points now. Do you know what they were?
What did they used to be?
75.
75.
They're up 30%. And
I mean, they were spammed in some armies, right? Because they were so.
Yeah, they were very efficient before. So they're up to 100 points now. I still think they're okay. You know, still think they're okay. They still have some minor shooting. You know, 8 shots. It's not going to do much. You'll average, cause your opponent to make 2 armor saves. It's not nothing. Legion weapons again. It's not nothing. But with 10 wounds on a 4-up, normally 3-up save at 100 points, I'm kind of okay with it.
Could you buff them before in the old book, like you can buff them now? Or is all this corn stuff new?
The allies are old. but the mark is now better. The previous mark was reroll hit rolls of 1 plus 1 to wound. And now it's, plus 1 attacks. Which, yeah, I guess there's more available now. There's definitely more opportunity to buff them. So I'm pretty okay with this. I'm going to score them a B. I think they're a solid playable B. Maybe I should have given them a B+. I think they're above the Dark Oath Savagers. But I wasn't being...
Yeah, especially because their roles to be tanky and take some wounds, and then you bring in half them back again.
Yeah.
Do it all over again.
Yeah, I think there's a use for them. I think they can be used. One thing to remember, though. This is a book of Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors have a straight 3-up save, I think. Wait, do they? Oh my god, I don't remember anymore. I'm going to quickly check it.
I don't know about Chaos Warriors. So.
I'm checking it. I don't quite recall Chaos Warriors. I have them here somewhere.
One thing I'm noticing with all of these cultists is that bravery is pretty low.
Yeah,
it's not the lowest. It's not great.
Number. Yeah, 6.
Are there things in the book to help mitigate that? Anything you can do to reduce it, or?
Yes, but they're inefficient. Like there's, right. So I told you that the Chaos War Shrine's dead. The prayer, the undivided prayer, is that if you take casualties to Battle Shock, you get to have them. That costs a prayer.
Yeah, it's not nothing, but it's not anything.
It's so sad. That's one way. Yeah, I think our general strategy is just to kill things before we all run away. And Chaos Warriors are a straight 3-up. So keeping in mind that this is 10 wounds for 100, Chaos Warriors are 20 wounds for 220, and have significantly more stats in that it's not a +1 save, it's a straight 3-up save characteristic, and they have the 5-up ignore mortals.
That is a big difference when you go from 4 to 3. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, even if you're adding 1. Yeah, because you can be rolling 2-ups. All right, so it's Iron Golems B. Scions of the Flame. We said that the Horns of Hashut maybe have some role in clearing out chaff. These guys do it better. Okay, so what these guys do is they each fire. They throw a pot. So 7 of them are going to be throwing a pot, and if they're shooting at something that has 10 or more models, each hit is 3 hits. All right, they're like Judicators, but they target chaff. So it's as if they have 21 shots there, and then the 8th guy is using Engulfing Flames, which is D6 attacks, 3s and 3s, even better. So yeah, they've got some actual decent shooting against chaff, which the current Slaves to Darkness, which is a super elite army that doesn't want to be wasting their time with their hammers killing chaff, there might be a use here. I think. So yeah, I think that's their main thing. That's all they get, I believe. Oh, they have a way of doing a stomp. At the end of the combat phase, they can do a stomp, effectively. A 2-up. On a 2-up, do D3 mortal wounds. But you have to live, and you've got 8 wounds on a 6-up save. So, what are your chances?
Which armor are these guys going to? They've got this elaborate ornate armor in the picture.
Yeah,
it looks
super ornate.
Falling.
Yeah.
But they got 6+ save.
Yeah. They're trying.
Right on there.
They're trying hard. That's all they got. All right, so that's Scions of the Flame. How many points?
I mean, they're comparable to the Horns of Hashut.
Better, I would say.
Yeah.
Except for save.
90.
90? 80. Scions of the Flame come in at 80. Where Horns of Hashut were 100, these guys are 80 with much superior shooting. So I really quite like these guys. I think they're okay. I give them a C here, but that was before I had to think about it. Now I've had to think about it. I think B+.
Horns have got a bit better armor, right?
Yeah, but I don't rate that. They'll both just die. If they get hit by something, they die. 4 up or a 6 up, doesn't matter. Next one, Spire Tyrant. So these are the ones that actually have a Chaos Dwarf. This Warcry band has more Chaos Dwarves than the Hashut one. That's sad. Spire Tyrants. They also have a Bestigor. So we're going to get 9 models here. One of the models is a Bestigor with +1 damage. And then the Head Claimer is also +1 damage. And then there's a Pit Champion with +1 attacks. So they're getting a total of 19 attacks, with 4 of them being damage 2. And then you also add 1 attacks if you have a mortal hero nearby. We have a 4-up save. And they don't take Battle Shock tests as long as they're in combat.
Yeah, I like that. 'Cause you don't want to be wasting your command points on the cultists, I imagine, most of the time.
Yeah. What do you think they're worth?
So, you know, 4+ save. They're a little bit slower. Their attack's not great, but they're getting an extra attack probably
If you go
on top of everything else they get.
But would you not just want
100?
Nurgle in this to give the enemy -1 to wound? They're a 4-up save.
Are you just thinking of just using them to slow your enemy down?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be good. I'd say 100.
100. You would be wrong. 80. 80 for a 4-up save. Not bad, huh? 9 wins.
These cultists are all pretty cheap.
It's
Cheaper than I
decent. If you
expect.
compare these to the Chaos Marauders, it's insane, the difference. Chaos Marauders have basically no ability at all, no abilities on them. They have 1 attack each, and it's just not even comparable to this. Like they have like a 5 or a 6. I think it's a 5-up save they have. These guys have a 4-up save. They have only 1 less wound, but they've got stuff with increased damage. They're not taking Battle Shock tests. A way to get extra attacks. It's just Marauders are dead in the water, man. They want Marauders to die. No one's going to use Marauders until the next book.
Old models, right?
Old models.
The old models.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Right, so I'm giving this a B.
So far, these guys seem a little underpointed for all the buffs. But I guess you're only getting the buffs in that specific, the Idolaters sub-faction.
Yeah.
Do you think if you're going out, if you're going outside, I guess you might just take the deep striking ones? Still, they still seem okay. But the other, would you take the other ones, the Corvus Cabal? Would you take other ones outside of Idolaters?
Yes, there's one other one I would take, but we've not covered it yet.
Okay.
Next one. Splintered Fang. We made it, guys. It's the big one. And this is most likely to be a typo in the entire book. 3 attacks per model. The True Blood gets an extra attack. The Serpent Collar gets another extra attack. All the serpents in the unit, which is 1 per 10, get wounds characteristics of 2. So this is 11 wounds. Highest wounds so far. And it does mortal wounds on a hit roll of 6. How many attacks does 1 unit get? 32. Then also, if you're taking any attrition, you can return a Slain Serpents unit back for each Serpent Collar in the unit for free, no roll. How many points do you think this unit is worth? 32 attacks to start with, and we can add another 4. So that this unit is doing a ridiculous 72 attacks.
80? 90?
There are 100 points. 100 points.
100.
Which is a bargain. You'd buy this for 150.
It does seem pretty crazy. If this is a mistake, what do you think the real number could be? Maybe 2 attacks or 1 attack, or?
I feel like it's the minimum they could do is make it 2 attacks. They must do that. They must. Like, otherwise this is just going to make it so that if you want to play the book optimally, you have to invest in at least half a dozen boxes of Splintered Fang. Like, they're unstoppable. You reinforce a unit to 20, and then even when they die, you're bringing them back with a 10-man unit. They're like, and remember, 20 is 64 attacks because the champion doubles and the Serpent Collar doubles, and you just. I wouldn't even go Corn. I'm like, I don't even need the extra attacks. I'm just going Slanesh. and I'm just running and charging. I'm just like, they're in your face. Oh, they died. Here's another one. It just cost a heroic action. Pum, pum, pum. You know, this is definitely a typo. I put money on
I,
it.
I was looking to see if maybe the 2+2 wound is quite unusual,
Yeah,
but then in their fluff, like poison is the greatest weapon of the fangs, and a single cut from their blades can prove fatal. I mean, that could be the mortal wound part, or maybe just if it hits you, it's probably going to wound because it's like
yeah,
a snake blade.
yeah. I think these guys are nuts, dude. I think these guys are absolutely nuts. So, yeah, S, clear S. If there was a letter higher than S, which there might be, I just don't know it, I would give them it. And then this is to be changed immediately before the book comes out. It must be. Dragons got double changed. This could be the first unit to get triple changed. It's,
Even if it's not a typo, I'd always be careful. Like Games Workshop have been quite good recently. Sometimes they like the Stormdrake Guard. It was too powerful, and they nerfed them, but they nerfed before the book came out to stop people buying them,
yeah.
which was a good thing. They changed the points, so you only needed to buy less to do the whole army.
Mm.
I'd maybe not rush out to buy them today,
Yeah,
but
don't.
at least wait until the book come in,
Yeah, don't
just
do it.
in case.
This is not lasting. If anyone's listening to this and considering Splintered Fang, don't. This is not remaining. There's no way.
Yeah. If it's a typo, if it's not a typo, they might change it still.
Mm.
Maybe either way. I mean, maybe they
Yeah,
don't. Sometimes stuff is just okay, like 4+ rally and Swords of Cain.
yeah. Tarantulas Brood. Okay, so we had the spider summoners. Here's this. Oh, sorry, they had the snake summoners. These guys are the spider summoners. For every 13 models, this is a 13 model unit, they have 3 spider swarms. These are the guys that I got really sad about because they were teasing all these like spidery things, and I was
Yeah.
like, Spider Fang release, Spider Fang release, Tarantulas Brood. So I refused to buy them on principle ever since then, even though I was playing cultists. And these guys, at the time, were amazing cultists because you do the cultist ritual, sacrifice some models, and get extras to cast. And then the spiders would come back every turn because you'd sacrifice the spiders. Great combo. That combo's gone in this book. But yeah, I was just not buying on principle. So what they do is every hero phase, you return D3 slain spider swarms, which is cool. You know, you could run a reinforced unit, and then you got 6 spider swarms with a refilling pool. It'll still just be D3 per turn, per round even, and you're getting a bunch of attacks. The spiders have 4 attacks each, so combined with Curse, this unit's
Oh
doing
yeah.
base 21, 33 attacks. That's not nothing. It's not nothing at all.
Whatever.
And they've got shooting on top of that. So add to the 33 that they have in venom projectiles, 10 of the models have it. So 43 attacks in a turn.
And pseudo fly with a better movement than the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not terrible.
Yeah. How many
I would
points?
I would guess I would guess these guys are a little bit more expensive because they've got 13 models
Mm.
and you're getting a spiders, but I would say maybe 110.
It's just going to be 100. So I think these guys are decent.
Not bad.
I think there's a use to them. They've got more wounds, and they combo with Curse. And Curse is easy to get. Remember, in Idolate a Lord, whoever your general is a priest. And we don't have any prayers in the book. We're always taking Curse or Heal. So we're probably taking Curse. It's very doable. Yeah, and then you add
I
another
like
13
this.
attacks if you go Quard. All right, so Tarantula's
Yeah.
Brood. I'm giving them a B, maybe a B plus. You know, uh, we'll
Maybe
see what they
maybe I'll
like.
get you some maybe I'll get you some for Christmas and you'll have to
I'll
use
tear my
them.
hair out, or I'll use the spider swarms as like some like fanatics or something. I don't know, some goblin thing. All right, the unmade. All right, here's a good one. You're in for a good one now. These are the unmade, and like boom, only one ability like instantly strikes you as this is weird. So 6 up save, 9 models. Um,
I
oh, okay, wow, yep. They get +1 attacks on the Joyous one. So they're making, let's see, that's what, 18, 23 attacks, decent. But enemy units within, not wholly within 12 of this unit cannot redeploy and cannot rally.
Yeah, that's auto taking every army, I think. Well, maybe not every army, but that's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't care about the attacks. It's just gonna be hiding behind
Yes.
the lines, right?
Yeah, great call. Because these guys are squishy, right? You don't want them being your. Well, you can have them as a screen. See, I would just auto include it in, and then in units where the rally isn't being used by the opponent, this is a screen, or it's holding something. When it matters, I'm keeping these guys behind my warrior block or my iron golem block, keeping them safe, flanks protected, and 12 inches. I'm just emitting that round, just like no rallying to happen here.
What base size are they on?
These, I'm not entirely sure. Normally, these guys will have like a mix of 32s and 25s for cultist warbands. I would guess these guys have it's probably two 32s and the rest are 25s. That's my guess. I doubt this guy's a 40s, but maybe the blissful one's on a 40. He's on still.
25s, you can go quite long. That's great. The redeploy wins games, so being able to turn it off.
Yeah.
Like when you need to.
Yeah. Like if you need to hit something, you just run the unmade, auto run the unmade into range. That thing can't redeploy, and then bring in your hammer. You know, the rally thing doesn't even have to be the best part about this. You can totally mess around with redeploy this. So good. All right. Points for this gem.
And that build is so good. 110?
This is an 80-point unit.
Steal.
You're
often going to have 80 points at the end of a list, so just whack something in as well.
Yeah.
It's basically like taking it's like buying an artifact almost.
I reckon the only reason people won't auto include a couple of these is because they're so damn awful to paint.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've heard. Yes, it doesn't look fun anyway. Yeah, I think at least one, if you've taken it seriously. Unmade are awesome. I'm giving them an A+, because, you know, nothing gets an S when there's Splintered Fang around. But A+ is the highest score that you can get otherwise. On 10 Beasts, my boys, the other unit that I personally own. All right, so I was hoping for this. Previously, there were 70 points, and they'd make a 6-inch move at the start of Battle Round 1, which is really cool. You take a couple units, and you would just make space, be these amazing screens for 70 points. They were just a bargain. All right, so what do we get? We get one missile attack. That's the harpoon. They've got one guy with the harpoon. You get an extra attack on the first fang. The first fang's the harpoon guy. It's an extra attack on the heart eater, and then the rock tusk prowler has an extra damage and an extra wound. So you're getting 10 wounds. You're getting 20. Is it 20 attacks? No, it's 19 attacks. And they can run and charge. That's not nothing. And they've still got their pre-game move. So far, so good. Everything I want to be there is there.
Pre-game was nice. It was 70 before. 90?
Bang on the money. 90 points.
90, okay.
I think it's still good for 90. I'd take them.
The pre-game move's good, especially like if you're getting your opponent to go first. You can get on an objective to stop them getting way out ahead of you. You can make a bit more of a bubble against KO, like to protect your other stuff. It's not a terrible ability.
I think they're fun. I'm giving them an A. That's an A+. They're not unmade. They're not Corvus Cabal. But I think they're very, very good. Especially in certain armies. And in certain matchups. Yeah, depends how you're building. I think normally you'd go Corvus Cabal over these guys. They just have a very similar ability, and they do it better with more shooting attacks. I prefer them. but I'm not going to be disappointed when I use my Untamed Beasts. I'm going to have a good time with them. Yeah, very happy
Nice.
with them. Okay, now bonus. We're done with cultists. That's all the cultists. I don't count Chaos Legionnaires as cultists, and they're rubbish anyway, in my opinion. So I've not included Chaos Legionnaires. I mean, they're literally not cultists. They don't have the keyword. So
Is
we're on
it
to the cat.
you've got your chosen, your Chaos Warrior. Is a Legionnaire, is he supposed to be between the two or below the Chaos
He's
Warrior?
below the warrior. Nope.
Below the Warrior,
Oh
okay.
no, yeah, but points too. It's sort of. You see,
But
it's a bit different. See,
he's
warriors and chosen, they can be loyal to anyone, whereas legionnaires, that's Bellacor's boys. And so normally I'd be all over that. I
um
love Be'lakor. I'm a big Be'lakor fanboy, but I just can't get behind the horn nipples. It's
no, he's
weird. I feel like they should be rotating like this, like wee. It's ridiculous, man. Horn nipples. Yeah.
chop him. You got a mobile knife, just chop him off.
That's exactly what I would do. But then their abilities also suck. There was this one thing they released with a typo in it. Maybe that was a typo. Where they had like some very good output, and I remember looking at it and going, "Hey, yeah, this is a unit I can get behind." They had this cool output, damage output. They had this cool way of shutting off. They basically roar, but it's on the 4-up. That's that thing. And they can get +1 to wounds if Bellacor's around. And I was like, yeah, with an output like that, I'd try to get Bellacor in there. This is going to be fun. And then they released the actual scroll, and it's just negligible damage. Negligible, like not worth the points. And they're only 110 points per 8, but no, I'm not down with Chaos Legionnaires. Anyway, the cat, Mind Stealer's Phalanx. I really like the change they made to the way it gives Strike Last. The previous Strike Last happened in the hero phase. So the range that you can apply Strike Last is now far greater. You can now auto run the Mind Stealer's Phalanx up, and then it's 9 inches from there, starting in the combat phase. So you've got a much higher chance of being able to make a roll. However, the way you make the roll is now much worse. Now,
Yeah.
you have to roll 2d6 against their bravery. Previously, you would I forget how, it was like a 50-50 chance, and it was like a guessing game. I forget if it was like
You pick a dice or
was it
something.
odd and even? Yeah, you pick a dice. I forget if it was like odd
Odd
and
and
even, and your opponent has to guess what you picked, or it might be pick the same number or something. I don't quite remember.
What was the range before? Was it 12? But in the hero
9 or
phase.
12, but in the hero phase,
Nine or
which
12.
is like that's so much shorter because you can't move first.
They're one of these units like the Hafalar from Lumineth that has a similar kind of ability. Maybe, but it's a spell. It's a bit better, but it's very unreal. Against some armies, it's great. Against other armies, it just does nothing. I think this might be the problem with it. Like if you're playing Bone Reapers, everything's bravery 10.
Mm.
So it's going to be really, it's kind of 95 points wasted. But against Gits or cultists, rival cultists, it's going to be pretty good.
Well,
I
yeah,
got the old one, but it is a little easy to get into position.
mm.
But the old one didn't matter what you were fighting, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was just a 50-50 chance either way, I think. Now this guy's stuck with the undivided keyword. We've got no way of changing it, and they've taken off the monster keyword, and I think that's actually what's going to make him unplayable. Well, not unplayable, but just not played. Previously, it was a monster. You can go in and stomp and roar for 95 points. It was fun.
Yeah.
No longer a monster. I think possibly because of a despoilers change. So new despoilers, that subfaction means every monster you take gets +2 wounds. So you could just spam 10 Spheranxes with 12 wounds each. That would be awesome. But not to be. Fair enough. But
I
yeah, I
think
don't know how much I'll use mine now.
yeah, I think we'll see with that. I think a lot of the things that you do want to make fight last are going to be braver than your average dude as well or dudette. Like they're gonna be heroes or hero monsters and they even gets the Mangler Squigs have got bravery 10. So I think it's to be seen.
Yeah. Next scroll. Furies. So Furies are now battle line. Battle line, if you take Legion of the First Prince army, which is our new weakest subfaction, that what they have is like any allied in basic demons, like your horrors, bloodletters, demonettes, or plague bearers, they can get the benefit of the Mark of Chaos. So the only one that's really good on is the bloodletters, but then you can't give them the same support Blades of Corn could give them. Blades of Corn gives them double fight. Blades of Corn has, well, if you take it in that many bloodletters, then you don't have room for a blood secretor and everything else, because it's 400 points.
Yeah.
So it's also not worth doing. They should have given them Coalition. To make Legion of the First Prince good, it should be you just choose one of the Chaos Gods, and then you can Coalition in from there. And that would have been fun. But they didn't get that. So Legion's dead.
Yeah. I'm liking the ability on the Furies, though.
Yep, so that's the same as the previous ability. And they're 5 points cheaper now. And you can make them battle line, so Expert Conquerors. That's fun. I think these guys are okay now. They're okay. Like I liked them before. There was a Legion of the First Prince army working before, which would take at least like 36 Furies, something ridiculous like that, like 3 reinforced units, and they would just go around and they just plomp on the objectives. And in Old Legion, you could bring back slain models, which is cool with 2 wounds each. You know, they're 12 wounds for 90 points. That's okay.
Yeah, anything under 10 points for a wound is good. That ability is nice. Like if you take 2 units, your enemy charges them both. One of them surviving, like guaranteed.
Yeah, I think Expert Conquerors changes them a lot,
utility.
Because what you can do is take a double reinforced unit, Expert Conquerors. This would be awful to move, by the way. I've got 12, and even that's already awful to move. But you charge them in, so you move in, you charge, and then you pick first to fight, and you pick them first. And they retreat over the enemy onto the objective, and they're an Expert Conquerors, so that's friggin' 54 models on the objective. That's a good way to steal.
They're the hurricane wind charges of the Chaos world.
Yeah,
But kind of better, to be honest.
yeah, they got some cool
That's
tricks.
like a full
You
move.
even just take them in 6. Take them in 6s. In Expert Conquerors, that's 18 models. That's probably enough to do your shenanigans, and that's your battle lines really easily sorted.
You could,
But we're not
with-
struggling
with
for battle
ro-
lines.
Can you give the Furies the mark as well?
No.
So they can't.
Well,
You can
in
run
Legion
it.
of
You
the
can
First
run in.
Prince, which is the battle line one, there are little things you could do. Let me just double check exactly what it is, because I've not really paid too much attention to them.
Even if you can't, they're gonna move 12. Maybe get 6-inch charge. That's
So
18. Then fly over the top. That's still moving 30
yeah,
quite
it's a
easily.
lot.
I mean, you're giving up an activation, which sometimes it's not worth it. But
Make that the only
time
activation,
on.
and then it's not so bad.
Yeah, if you
Okay,
just got.
so what you do in Legion of the First Prince is every hero phase, every start of your hero phase, you pick one of your undivided units, and they can benefit from 1 mark until the end of turn. So if you need to run and charge, you can get it. If you need to +1 attacks, you can get it. It's flexible, but you can only do 1 per your hero phase, and it's until your next hero phase. So I think there's some uses in Expert Conquerors for these guys. Next one, Raptorix. So these are the chickens. And we've got a friend, Faust, and he's making a chicken army, which also ran on triple cockatrice, so he'll be sad about that nerf. But Raptorixes, they're looking actually kind of funky now. They've got some changes. So they're now at 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, which I believe is better than before. And they can add an attack if they charge that turn. So they get to 3 attacks right away. Now they are stuck in Undivided, but there's 6 models, 2 wounds each for 80 points. That's 12 wounds at 80 points. And they can't make battleship tests as long as they're within 3 of a friendly monster.
Are there going to be many monsters in Chaos armies? Do you
The
think?
options for Chaos monsters are the Manticores. There's a General Demon Prince. You can take a command trait to make him +2 wounds and a monster. There is the weird stuff, like the, what are they called?
Vortex
Mutilated
Beast?
Vortex Beast, the Soul Grinder, and the Slaughter Brute. They're all monsters. And I think that's it. I think that's what we've got. Oh, Bellicor. And Archaeon. But I'm not using my Archaeon to provide a Battle Shock buff to my chickens.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah. And that's... Oh, we're on to the end of spells now. And I've got a really cool idea here. So, we were having a conversation the other day, right, with our friend Macron, and he was saying that
Is that who's Macron? Is that our friend who loves elves?
that's our friend who loves elves.
I
That's correct.
know about them.
Yes. Now, Macron was making the argument that Kabbalists was a bad subfaction because our lore sucked. And I said it doesn't matter even if our lore sucked, which I don't think it does, because we could do endless spells. And here's how we do the endless spells. I'm going to skip Eightfold Doom Sigil for now, because we're going to take Realm Scourge Rupture. What it does is it gets cast on a 7, it comes up within 9, and then moves 9, and it can fly. And then for each... you roll a dice for each unit that has any models it passed across, and each other unit within 1 inch of it at the end of its move. Ooh. And... so that's potentially making, at least if it just hits 1 unit, it can make it take a double stomp. Because if it passes across it and ends within 1 inch, that's a double stomp. And then its move characteristic is halved until the end of the battle round. So this will be a combo with which in the spell?
Ravenax Gnashing Jaws,
Boom.
best friend.
Alright, so Ravenax Gnashing Jaws obviously being 3d6 movement, and then the difference between its movement and whatever it passes over, it does that many mortal wounds. Perfectly combos with this. And like we mentioned a couple times, there's problems that people face where they can just not deal with endless spell spam. They can't unbind them all. And so they're just going to keep getting hit by them if you're playing enough endless spells. They don't have diminishing returns, it's the opposite.
But the new tech on the other video, tell them the new tech, the Witch Hunter.
Oh, yes. If you're playing Order and you can ally in Cities of Sigmar, you want to bring in Doralia of Indensed, because she has the chance... Oh, she's very able in your shooting phase to make 2 unbinding rolls in 1 shooting phase, which is pretty good for dealing with this stuff.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So Realm Scourge Rupture. So that's Endless Spell 1. Ravenax Gnashing Jaws is Endless Spell 2. And here's Endless Spell 3. Dark Fire Demon Rift. Now, you faced this before. I took this against you once. It's cheaper. It's exactly the same, but 20 points cheaper.
Cheaper?
Yeah, it's 80 points now.
I mean, the Ruin of Petrification half points. I can't complain.
No, you cannot. But I think this is...
Yeah.
Oh, I've got the wrong thing on here saying Realm Scourge Rupture. I've got the wrong... I had the wrong one here as well. I had them reversed. So Dark Fire Demon Rift is 80, Realm Scourge Rupture was 60.
So the rules are the same, it's just cheaper?
Yeah. Yeah, so
I mean, I was in
stomp, and then you add 1 to the stomp for every endless spell within 12 after it's moved.
And it includes your opponents, so
Yes.
it did a lot more than I expected. When you look at it, like just a little bit of mortal wounds, but
yeah,
at the moment, quite a few people. And there's probably going to be more endless spells with the nerf to the Incarnate. People are going to be less worried about taking them.
Exactly. So yeah, this is a potential Kabbalists build. As you go these 3 endless spells, I think it'll be rather strong. And you're pretty good at casting now, because any wizard can use a heroic action to make a 3d6 cast. With a drawback, but helps you cast. Alright, so I think that's us.
Yeah, some interesting new stuff. It's a lot of nice techie stuff as well. Like you've got your deep striking unit, you've got some nice endless spells, you've got some guys to be tanky outside, and the guys that turn off the redeploy and the rally. Just nice stuff. Like I imagine you're going to get 1,800 points of your army, and then what techie stuff am I going to take? Unless you're doing like a specific like cultist like focus thing. It's quite nice.
Definitely tune into the next episode, because I'm going to bring in 2 lists that are going to bring in the other side of the army, the stuff minus the tech. I'm going to bring in your core, all right? And it's going to use a concept that we introduced in this video. So stay tuned for episode 4.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. See ya.
Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Bye. Wait, I wasn't ready to click stop recording.